So we'll start with group 1. Can you please share the outcome of your discussion? Group 1.
Group 1 is
So,
Junni.
I'm group 1.
We are group 1 and group 3 joined together today.
Huh? We are? Oh my God.
Yes.
We are.
That's why suddenly you see me and Brother Mike.
That's why I was like, why is it Sister Siu King is suddenly here?
Yeah, because today
Kim,
our group and your group less people.
Combined, is it?
Yeah,
oh,
combined
okay.
together. So
All
Brother
right,
Mike
so,
will represent us.
Okay, Brother Mike, group 1 and group 3 then, I guess. Group 1 and group 3 has to
The
present
sound
today.
you prepare.
Okay, all right, let me share. Yeah. So Brother Mike, wait, I tried to share our screen just now. Okay, can you see the screen, Brother Mike?
A bit more. Okay, can, right.
Okay, yeah. I'll mute myself.
Okay, we start with question number 1. What is your immediate reaction? Example, body, feeling, thoughts, and behavior when you are under stress. Okay, what we have discussed is that some of us will have shoulder blade become tense, face becomes tense, and we get headache. And also we will have feeling pressured and burdened. And we also feel impatient. And some of us will have mind become very uneasy, lots of energy thoughts. Right. So then also we will have overthinking. So we worry until cannot sleep or getting insomnia. And we also walking up and down, and we tend to eat more and become snappy with our children. And I also put up and said we'll walk away from the stressful situation. This will be our answer for number 1 question. And maybe next, number 2. So from the reaction above, our body, feeling, thought, behavior, which is harder for you to deal with when you're under stress. So we only have 2. We are in mental stress, uneasy mind, hard to stop worrying, and we're having the hardest to deal with the situation and cannot stop. And of course, we will have insomnia. Yeah, that's about from what we have presented. So number 3, how do you handle stress by applying what you have learned in Buddha so far? So our contribution is that try to recite Buddha many times to let go. Use Anapase technique, focus back on the breathing. Then giving metta to ourselves, practice metta, compassionate and equanimity. And also we have put up saying keep reminding everything changes, no point worrying. And it's not in a permanent situation. So do what we can at the moment. And we have 2 more, as in we will practice mindfulness, aware of its arising and ceasing. And also we could keep silent and be focused. That would be our answer.
Okay, thank you, Brother Mike, so much for your sharing. Thank you, Group 1 and Group 2 today. So we only left with Group 2. So can we ask Group 2 to share? Thank you.
For question 1, for Group 2, what is our immediate reaction when we are under stress. Basically, we shared, some of us experience anxious. For me, stay totally quiet, look very cold and quiet, or cool, quiet outside, but inside is burning. Angry, agitated, irritated, no peace of mind, a lot of so-called, thinking, and also perturbed. And we have a sister that she will experience sadness and she'll cry. For question 2, from the reaction, which is harder for us to deal with when we are under stress, basically it's a mixture of different feelings. In fact, all of them are difficult. None of them are easy to deal with. How do we handle stress? By applying what we have learned in Buddhism so far. We have shared, we talk about anicca, impermanent, happens so many times. Everything is temporary, will change anyway. Suffering is not permanent, everything will change. Happiness is not permanent, everything will change. Just look at it as transient. Looking at the beauty of the person that I have, or we are angry at, or we are mad at. I have told them that's not possible for me. Do one best to disregard that person, as I shared with the group. That worked for me. I will treat that person as transparent as possible. See that person as a test of your patience. Deconstruct the person as in as Sister Tan share, or Sister Sunni, is it the Sister Sunni share? She will deconstruct the person and look at the person, it's just a mass skeleton. So, and she will ask herself, why am I angry with a skeleton? Regarding the see the person as a test of the patient, we were saying that one of the brothers shared, imagine this person is being sent to you by Guan Yin to test your patient. So if you are able to go through this period of stressful agitation or whatever difficult feeling that you're experiencing now, without aggravate it or create even more bad karma for yourself, for ourselves, then of course we consider, or you consider, pass the test. And the last one is by one of the brother. He said that learn to be like Elsa, let it go. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Group 2, for sharing. Let me welcome Sister Mei Liu again to share with us what's the solution. Thank you. May we welcome Sister Mei Liu? Thank you.
Thank you. Before I share my my sharing, just like to check with the group 1 and group 3, group 2 just now. You mentioned that one of the way is to keep silent and be focused, right? Yeah. So keep silent and be focused, meanings to like how just force yourself to come back to your work, or or how is it, or like you really.
Okay, that was from Brother Mike. Brother Mike says that he keeps silent and he focuses on the problem, and then he said he will think of different solutions. That's what he said. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Mike. Brother Mike, can you share with Sister May? Is that what you mean?
Yes. I would look back, meaning by go to my to my position, and and think back what is a possible other solution to do it. Yeah, to come back. to come back with it. Yeah.
Thank you. That is very quick-minded of you, because it's not easy. Sometimes people dwell in emotion for a long time, cannot think of solution yet. Yeah, so that was very wonderful. It is something like let it go as well. Take it easy, and then you go back and focus on finding the solutions. Sometimes we still need to problem solve the issues then. Thank you so much. I'd just like to understand a little bit about that part then.
Thank you.
Okay. So let me share today's sharing. Wait, let me do this first. How do I? Sorry, my things kacau me a bit. Here. So, oh, if I use presenter view, you will see. Okay, I need to share a portion of screen, then it's easier. And then I'll do this. Oops. Okay, now can you see? Is it clear? The visual,
yes,
the visual is
can
clear?
see. The visual is clear. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you for coming in today. I suppose that there are some of you are not able. I also understand that the conditions might not be able to suit for the classes at this time. So really thank you for all of you have made this effort to come in. And so I don't want to stress you up as well for coming in here, then you feel stressed then. And what you have talked about it earlier is our second part of the topic, session 2, how to manage stress in accordance to the Dhamma. So we first start by asking you all, how do you handle your stress? And then what are the challenges, when you have, what are the difficult things for you to handle the stress? And then how do you apply Dharma in helping you to handle the stress then? Before I talk a little bit more about this, let me just review back about what happened in the last session, where we talk about how does stress come from. I remember I talk about stress in 2 parts. One is the what we call the layman term, where stress is something that we the demand and the supply, the ability to cope with the demand is out of order or imbalance. Hence, the stress come from it. But Buddha takes stress into a more deeper meaning. So he talked about the stress in terms of the ultimate term, where it names as dukkha. Dukkha means the void of happiness of self or self. And this what to call stress is because this suffering is because we have these 5 aggregates that we grasp to. So it's the grasping of the aggregates that lead us to a lot of suffering. And there are 3 forms of suffering. One is because of the birth, aging, the sickness, the suffering of not getting what you want, or the suffering of getting what you don't want, and the leaving of another one, the leaving of your loved one. And fabrications is the mental formations that our mind, thinking about, or maybe they're perceiving about the situations, and then the impermanence of the situations. That is also causing, that is also a form of stressfulness or a form of suffering. Yeah. So the origin of suffering is because of one of the bigger contribution is because of the craving. Yeah, the craving to the birth, the birth of the being, whether you are human or whether you can be deva or you can be other form of beings. So this is more into the ultimate term of how Buddha helped us to understand that sufferings, this is where suffering comes from. And after the understanding of the stress and origin of stress, that now I would like to bring you to look at the reactions, or how are we going to handle this. So in the Four Noble Truths, Buddha very wisely, he pointed out the first and the second noble truth. There is suffering, the first noble truth. The second noble truth is there are causes leading to suffering. So that was been discussed in the first sessions. And today we are looking at the third and the fourth. The Buddha also tells us that there is end of suffering. There's an end of this suffering. And the last part is he told us how we can achieve the end of the suffering. Of course, that is in more the ultimate term. So like today, I like to separate this two part into the more the psychological, where we where the layman understand better. Like when we're under stress, how we react to stress, we normally can categorize it to how my body react to stress, how my feeling and my thoughts and my behavior, what did I do then. Buddha very wisely, he talked into a more ultimate term, and he helped us to understand that when we are in the suffering, what happened in terms of our physical appearance or our form, that means our body, yeah, and then our feeling, our perceptions, our thinking. The perceptions, how we see things, sorry, this is how we see things, how we recognize things, and how we form our mental or volitional formations or mental formations according to how we perceive and based on past experience and whatnot. And then our consciousness, how do we aware about things that are going on. So based on these two presentations, yeah, how Buddha present to us and how psychologists present to us, that will lead us to a different way of handling our, perceiving our stress or perceiving our difficulty then. So let me go into, before I go into talking about how we handle, we need to understand this is very important. We all of us have this, what we call habits, yeah, in simple terms, or in psychological terms, we can name it as habitual reactions. Whenever we have these habitual reactions, it can be something that we have learned, observed, shaped by our parents, by our environments, by our culture, by our belief system, by how we've been punished and been reinforced since young. Of course, it can be also part of our temperament. That means when you are born, some baby are very difficult to handle. Some baby are very simple and easy, you know, to soothe and whatnot then. And so this habitual reactions is what we call the conditioned behavior that we have learned over the years, over their experience, over the generations, perhaps. I like to highlight the culture. Some people, even though we are Chinese, we have different culture, right? So some culture will be more, perhaps, loud, like me Hakka, right? So we speak very loud one. So whenever we speak very loud, my husband thought we are fighting. Especially my auntie and all that, he thought we are fighting. Then I tell him that we are not fighting, we are talking only. So for him, he cannot understand, you know, this kind of like, he feel very stressful, you know, when he felt, when he was in the family chit chat and whatnot, he feel very stressful. For him, he felt like this is like a rude talking or perceiving as rude, as rough and all that then. So you see, that kind of for us is normal, yeah. For people, they feel very stressful already. So this kind of cultural differences sometimes we also create some stress. And for us, when we, especially married, yeah, you married, then you know that you have to also integrate, yeah, the differences of culture between yours and your husband. And if you are living with in-laws or maybe extended family, then you will also have a lot of challenges in terms of handling your own conditioned behavior, that you have to really unlearn certain things to understand better and to accept that there are differences, and to start to be able to what we call that reshape or unshape the past belief system, and then it'll be more congruent for your children to see both you and your husband or your wife as a couple. If not, that's why divorce or separations, or maybe choose not to live with in-laws. These are some of the solutions that will come about, yeah, when we met with challenging or difficult situations in family life then. So this conditions behavior, is it something that you can manage? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. We think that parents, we must do our best not to shape, not to give them our worst part, or to hold them from learning something unhealthy and whatnot. But nowadays, the system are so much advanced, and there are certain things that is not there are certain things, there are many things is out of our control. Then we have to understand that this is where they are conditioned to. Yeah, our children nowadays, they've been exposed to many other things, and this is not to blame, but part of the evolutions that happen. So we parents, we can understand that the conditioned behavior sometimes is out of your control. Then how can we depersonalize or see this as anatta in our parenting? Yeah, that is very important. I talk about it because I am in this part of the journey. So I like to highlight that other than the habitual reactions, yeah, that where we learn from our past experience, our environment, our culture, and punishment or reinforcement, then, and this what they call reactions, how did we react, is actually very much based on how do we perceive them, yeah. And how do we perceive means how do we see things, hear things, smell things, taste things, and feel things then. So we have our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. Buddha very wisely, he already tells us these are the 5 doors. Even actually there are 6 doors. Yeah? And another one is called the mind. The mind door is where all these 5 doors entrance will go in, will be accepted or received by the mind. And where is the mind? Actually, mind is not in the brain. Yeah, but nowadays the scientists or maybe the psychologists and neurologists, neuroscientists and all that, we are very much interested in understanding the so-called the mind from the brain itself. But mind is actually not from brain. And some neuropsychologists try to explain mind. They're using the definitions of mind is actually inter-interactions between what they call inner. So it's like internal and external and between them. So an exchange between the internal, external, and between the internal and external. So the scientists trying to use their language to describe, to define mind, but Buddha didn't define mind as such way. So I'm trying to explain from the brain perspective, just for your informations. How do we react? How does our brain react to stress? And brain is a result of mind how our mind perceiving things and all that. Yeah. So if I have, normally when I teach children, I use this fist model. Yeah, if you can see me, yeah, this fist model with the thumb inside and the four fingers outside. This is the frontal part, yeah, where our prefrontal cortex here, yeah, and up here is the upper here, yeah. This is where the what we call the parietal lobe, yeah, where we have our what they call hands and legs movement, our mostly the hands and legs, and then when you exercise, then this part are more developed then, yeah. And then the back here is the temporal lobe, where sorry, not the temporal, the occipital, where what we see things and we go back and define, and then we send back here and to understand what is happening in front of us. So there is also the brainstem here, yeah. This is where the autonomous nervous system and also our breathing, our digestions, yeah, it control the automatic functions in our body. And then when we open up here, this is where you see the limbic system, yeah, where our emotions, our memory, and our feeling are much stored here. So how does our mind react? How does our brain react to stress when we are under so-called stress? We have two routes, yeah, we have two routes, or in Malay term, we have two jalan, you know. One is the long distance, the long route. Another one is the short route. So when we are conscious, when we are mindful, when we are so-called able to manage our emotions, we normally able to solve the solutions through our prefrontal cortex. That means we use the long route to help us to understand things, and then we can make decisions much better, and then we can analyze situations much rational without much emotions, or maybe with emotions, but we still manage to manage things well then. Yeah, this is the long route then. But when we are under traumatized situations, like you've been robbed, you've been, you know, suddenly what are called pushed by someone, and then you are shocked, you know, or people come and punch you, you know, those kind of shock situations, or maybe big situation where you have no time to understand what is going on. This is where our brain will turn us into the short route. So we will pass through. Well, Chinese say 没有经过大脑 it's the right things, you know. When we are under the traumatized situations and strong feelings, we really didn't go through the long route, where we don't go through the prefrontal cortex and we react immediately. Yeah. So when the car is almost hitting you already, your immediate reaction is to shout, or maybe to run, or maybe to freeze. Then you don't know what to react then. So we have this fight, and freeze, three automatic stress reactions that normally happen. But what happens if someone that is always under stress, what we call chronic stress? Yeah, every time you go back home, now, very, you know, like you are being demanded to do this and whatnot, or maybe you go to school and work, and then you will face all the students give you, you know, long-term issues on daily basis and all that. So what happens when you are under chronic stress? That your hippocampus, yeah, here, this is the C part, your hippocampus will somewhat been stimulated a lot. Then your past reactions, yeah, your past reactions, like when you are being so-called hit, then you, or maybe you are being scolded, then you will react strongly. So when you handle a situation under a chronic stress situations, most of the time we react automatically without thinking or without analyzing what is going on. And then after that, we regret of what we did just now. Like perhaps when your child fight back with you, immediately you slap the person, or immediately you want to hit the child. Then after that you regret of what you did. But that automatic reactions is not actually because you intended. Sometimes it's because of the past memory or the past automatic reactions that prompt you to do such things then. So this hippocampus is what happened that sometimes when we are stressed, we recall a lot of things in the past. Hence, what you said just now, you overthinking, you ruminate yourself into what had happened then. And then the amygdala is the small part of it. The amygdala is the emotional reactions, the regulations and whatnot. Then if you have been taught on how to regulate your emotions, then perhaps it can help you, your memory will help you also to regulate better. If not, you've been just taught that when you are what are called punished and you fight back, then you will tend to go back to the previous past habitual reactions to just keep fighting and fighting and fighting. So this happens when children are about 3 to 6 years old, or maybe until 12 years old, 15 years old. The brain are still under development. Then it impact them, or it somewhat shape them, or how they react to things then. So if your child tend to be reactive to you at now, don't blame them. You can model a good behavior for them to learn how to cope with emotions then. Yeah. So like I said, the mind is not stored in the brain. Yeah. There is another another group of researchers that actually found that our heart, they have emotions as well. In fact, if you practice meditations, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, that one of the base for the mind to arise is the heart base. So, but it's not based at the heart itself, it's based at the flow of the blood itself. So that is a term called heart brain. Heart has a brain where it has a very complex nervous system that can be qualified as the little brain. So whenever you feel nervous, you feel sad, you feel angry, your heart reacts very strongly. Yeah, either pumping very fast, or you feel your heart is like having heart attack sometimes when you're anxious, or when you feel panicking. And heart is the first thing to be formed when we conceive. Yeah, as mother, if you know, yeah, you can listen to the heartbeat before the brain are formed. So, so our heart has a brain in a way, yeah, that they can transmit energy. So that's why if you practice metta, you actually feel very warm at your heart area, and you can actually transmit that good energy, yeah, to the people around you, or to the beings around you as well. Then, so what I want to help you to understand here is that as much as you understand about the brain, how does the brain react when we are under stress, our heart also react when we are under stress. And what we can do with our heart is perhaps sometimes, you know, like this kind of soothing behavior. We touch, we pet, yeah. When the baby are young, yeah, right, we'll tap them like this, mommy sayang, you know, don't be fearful and all that. All these are very helpful. Yeah, even you yourself touching yourself at the heart area are very helpful as well. So how to manage stress in terms of this theory or this way of conceptualization by the psychologists? Then we segregate into how we manage our body when we are stressed, how we manage feelings when we are stressed, thought and behavior. So for body, some of the time we exercise, relax, do the relaxations, or go for massage and eat and drink well. Some people will use drinking or eating to soothe their feelings, right? Just now I heard about one group saying that. And feeling, sometimes we cry it out. So crying is also a way of managing our stress. Withdraw anger. Sometimes we have to throw out anger, but whether you throw it out healthily or not healthily is another story then. Like healthily means like perhaps you shout in your pillow and then you throw things, maybe you punch the pillow, something like that, right? And then unhealthy means like you throw things to people then. So there are a few ways then. Listen to music, and then some people sleep to manage their feelings. And then in terms of thinking, many people will say, stay positive lah, think about positive things lah, or not, don't think too much lah, you know. These are some of the things that I always heard from my clients. And behavior, some people will go and meet up people, go traveling. Yeah, when they are stressed, they want to go out for traveling, or they go shopping, yeah, buy things. And some people write things out or express it out or talk to someone then. So in psychological approach, there are many theories and many methods to help people to what are called get to treat their injuries, the inner injuries. Yeah, it can be the cognitive behavioral therapy. If you heard about it, cognitive means the thinking, behavioral means the behavior, and then they will based on this theory itself, they will work with their thoughts and encourage them to do certain things to help them to gain new experience so that they can form new belief. Yeah. Rational emotive behavioral therapy is also very similar to cognitive behavioral therapy. This one work more with the emotions. They help them to understand about the emotions and then to understand whether emotions, whether it's functional or not functional. And then how do we get rid of, or maybe how do we do something to help us to regain our functional feelings and all that. Yeah, some anger, say for example, anger can be destructive, but it can be also constructive. So if you know how to use your anger, it can be very helpful. Yeah, it can turn into motivations. Some people, when they are being so-called like say for example, they break up with the partner, they get very angry because the partner say that 你不够好啦, or you not earn enough lah, you know, then the guy 发愤图强, you know, that he want to you know, suddenly, you know, become very hardworking, and then he turn himself into a manager or businessman or somewhat. So that is the constructive anger. Yeah, so it can help, the emotions can help if we know how to make it a constructive one. Gestalt therapy is another form of therapy where you help you to look at the whole, the parts and the whole. Sometimes we focus so much on the parts, we just see the little things. Then this gestalt therapy help us to see the bigger part of it. Yeah, so to understand that, you know, this is just how we can interpret this part, and then help us to gain the bigger whole of us. Then solution focus, where we talk about, okay, so you have this problem and then you have these resources. What can we do now? What is the aim that we can, what are the realistic aim that we can focus here? So then we work on the realistic plan. This is very suitable for guy, this kind of therapy, because they're very much behavioral and solution focused. Acceptance commitment therapy is a form of mindfulness-based therapy to help us to understand, to accept whatever that is going on, and to commit to a new regime of behavior to help us to regain our sense of so-called sense of self then. Yeah, it also helps us to understand that there are things that is out of our control. That means anicca is part of the concept inside, and also we talk about anatta as well, and a lot more lamentum. Satya whole person therapy, if you heard about Satya or the Satya family therapy, you talk about family or origin. Everything is about family origin, or maybe it comes from your past generations and all that, which is also helpful for us to understand that if you can look into it, it helps us to apply anatta. Sometimes we blame ourselves so much, but it can, when we are able to look at the bigger part of ourselves, then we know that This is also part of the anatta. So there are many, many more, yeah, to handle what are called difficult situations, depressions, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and whatnot. But I like to say that all this, yeah, all this are like this. It's like an elephant with a blind man. So the psychological approach, there are some helpful things, of course, but they are not wholesome. So this is the limitations then. So sometimes some therapy work for certain people, some therapy doesn't. If it's very much depends on the match. Like I said, the solution focus very much helpful for the men, but for girl, they are more feeling, you know, like they want to talk about more about the feelings and whatnot. Then sometimes it's not so helpful. Then we have to really depends on the people. What Buddha offered to us is more applicable to all of us, no matter you are men, women, or whatnot. Then, so Buddha is so wise. He helped us to look at the ultimate part of it, then, and he gives us the Noble Eightfold Path: the right view, right intentions, right speech, right actions, right livelihood, right efforts, right mindfulness, right concentration. We have to understand the right doesn't mean it's the right and wrong. It's the middle path of what we can what are called gain, yeah, from our continuous learning then. So because why is that so different? Because this is how Buddha conceptualized our suffering. Buddha conceptualized our suffering in terms of the 5 aggregates and the grasping to the 5 aggregates then. So then he gives us a more complete solutions then. You can see that right view, this is the part where it's applied in cognitive behavioral therapy as well, because of past experience, maybe we have certain distorted view about certain things, and then through some experiment, some new experiences, then we add into our what I call belief store, and then hence we expand our view then, our belief then. Here, Buddha, in terms of the right view, Buddha tells us about not to dwell into the view of what was that, like having the permanent soul, yeah, having a permanent soul, or the view of annihilations. That means the view of nothingness then. Yeah. So same thing. If I apply the view of nothingness, some people will think that 没有就没有了啦. Past, let it go, you know, don't talk about it. But some women cannot, you know, like, what do you mean? You mean like whatever you did wrong and then I just forget about it? They cannot, you know. So men is like, past is past already, talk about it, what for, right? So then this is the part, the right view, the wrong view of annihilations, sorry, and then the wrong view of holding it. There's still something there, you know, cannot let go, you know. So if I have to apply the right view in therapy, it will be such that, you know, I will have to help the two of them to understand that, not two of them, I have to help the client to understand that it's past, yes, but it is also something that it's not something that we can discriminate or maybe dismiss, not discriminate. It's not something that we can dismiss, but how can we use that experience to learn from current experience, yeah, and then we can form a new way of perceptions from here and then move on. Then it takes a lot of effort to do this actually. So I like to summarize that 8 Noble Eightfold Paths. Actually, not me lah, sorry lah, Buddha. Buddha summarized it to the threefold partitions. Yeah. He mentioned, so he said 8 is very difficult for all the laymen. Why not I just let you all know the 3 practices enough. One is you have to practice the sila, yeah, the moral, the virtue, so that you can uphold not to do the wrong things and guard your mind. The second part of it is, other than you guard your mind and not do the wrong things, but you still have to develop some stability, your mind. So you have to practice samadhi, okay? But samadhi not enough, Buddha said, because with samadhi, with the mind stable, you still need some wisdom, your insight to understand what is going on or what is this about. So you need the panya practice then. So Buddha so wisely, you see, he is such a, wow, what I call a realistic and hands-on person, to teach you that these are the three things that we can remember. So precepts, and then the meditations practice, which has been mentioned by you all just now, and then understanding the Four Noble Truths, and also the insight meditations then. So in here, I like to highlight this abiding precepts, what was been mentioned, like just now, the sila practice. The importance of the sila practice is to protect our mind and reduce harm. In our psychological so-called therapy itself, the first and foremost rule that we always remember, and I also like to share with you here, is do no harm. If you can't help, it's okay. No need to help, but do no harm. Yeah. So do no harm is such a simple term, but I maybe I should not use this word reduce harm. I should use the word do no harm here. Sorry, these are my word itself, not from Buddha itself. Yeah. So I may have a wrong word, wrong application of the word itself. So do no harm means that you do not add more situations or challenges to the situation. If you can't help, you stay quiet, you be mindful about yourself. That is also good enough then. Yeah. This is where the 5 precepts, 8 precepts, the precepts are very important. The Musavada, the number 4, Musavada Veramani Sikapada, Musavada Veramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. So the Musavada is the one that we sometimes we are so what they call careless or not paying attention, not mindful. Our mouth easily will say things then. And for the first non-killing, non-stealing, non-sexual misconduct, sometimes are easier for us to practice. The Musavada is a little bit difficult because we tend to maybe share unhelpful things. And the last one is the non-consumptions of the drugs, and maybe in here I would like to say non-consumptions of the toxin medias. Some medias are toxic, especially nowadays you have a lot of medias that spreads a lot of unhealthy things as well. So to abide the precepts, to reduce this kind of exposure, is to actually protect our mind. Yeah. And so we have to learn to protect our mind first and do no harm. And secondly, then we can learn how to stay calm and develop stability. Sometimes we can't stay calm, or maybe we can't stay stable. We're easily triggered. Anybody will say something, we're easily triggered. And then when we are under stress, we are further harder to contain our mind to be focused. That's why like I was asking, keep silent, be focused. Actually, the important part is to stay calm. Yeah. So that stay calm part is very important before you can be focused. And the third part of it is the insight meditation practice. This is where we need to learn how to see the 3 part of it, the anicca, anatta, and the dukkha then, and to help us to see clearly. Sorry for a while, I need to check 1 minute. Sorry. So here, to be able to stay calm and to focus again to find solutions may not be still enough. We still need to learn how to gain insight and see things clearly then it will be more helpful for us to manage our daily situations easier then. So these are the three practice for you then. And here I'd like to quote some of the examples from the Dhammapada stories and how can we what to call guard our mind and then use our practice to help ourselves to manage the daily stress or maybe the stressful situations. Here, this is an example by the Thera Ujjanasani. Yeah, he is a person who always speak ill of people, and then he he spread the other people's fault to other bhikkhus and all that. So what Buddha said that if a person is constantly seeing fault of others and is always disparaging them, the moral intoxicant in the person's increase, and he is far from the moral intoxicants, or he is far from the attainment of arahantship. So we have to learn how to guard our mind through our speech. That means not to spread the fault of others. Sometimes, like children, they will come and complain to your mommy, or or the teacher, they will say, 老师, they will come and tell you a lot of complaint. Sometimes I will tell my children, what do you want? I will check with them, what you actually want to tell me then. He's angry that the other person known me or like disturb you and whatnot. Then I will say that then you tell this angry, you feel angry to the other person that you are angry. So I will guide the person back, guide the child back to tell the other person, not me go and scold the other child like, like that. So I take on and then I become the back mouth then. I've been affected by the person who tell me the fault things then. So this is a very important practice as well, especially if you're a teacher, for young children, then you will also affect by this kind of complaint, a lot of complaint, like then we always tend to punish the other one that make fault. But we never forget that this one always complain one also need to guard the mind, through their speech then. Yeah. And the other story is about this lady, it's a rich lady that let me see. Okay. So this lady that she has adopted a ascetic, a person who walked the spiritual path lah. So then he took care of him, and then one day the Buddha came, and then she invited the Buddha because she hear a lot of good things about the Buddha, and she invited him. And then this ascetic become very angry, like he start to talk to other people that how this lady not respecting him, and then curse her and whatnot then. So this lady overheard about this man, this ascetic complaining about her. And she was with the Buddha serving the food and all that. And she was very disturbed then. So Buddha told her that one should not consider the fault of others, nor they are doing or not doing good or bad things. One should consider only whether he has done or not done the good or bad things. So he advised the lady that you should not be bothered by the fault by others. So this is the bad mouthing of that person. It's not your fault. Yeah. So you should not be bothered by this. And you can always just bother about what you have done good in the here and now. I want to quote this example for us to handle those gossip. The gossip, right? Sometimes people gossip about you, bad mouthing about you. Whatever you do good, people will still say something bad about you behind. Or maybe you're not being acknowledged by your loved one and all that. They still big mouth about you. So when we hear this kind of bad words, we feel very irritated, annoyed, right? Yeah. So this is very important here that we need to guard our mind and come back to our precepts and know that we can guard our hearing, guard our mind through our hearing. We need to understand and clarify that this is bad mouthing of their person is their own fault. It's not me, Yeah. So this is what Buddha had taught as well in the past. Another story, how do we guard our mind through seeing and touching? This story is about the Nagala. He was a poor field laborer, and then he went to learn the Dhamma from the Buddha, and then he threw away his old clothes and all that, and he wanted to be a bhikkhu lah, yeah. But every time when he have some difficulties and all that, he will left the monastery, and then he will go to dig out his old clothes in a tree, because he he buried his old clothes under a tree, yeah. And then he will take out the old clothes and look at it, and then he will remind himself that I don't want to live in this poor field laborer life again. And then he remind himself through that old clothes, and then he book back and go back again to the monastery and train again himself. So this is how he trained himself. And then the other bhikkhu was very curious. Why you always go under the tree and then go do something there and then you come back? He tell the rest of the bhikkhus that it's because I want to go back and see my teacher. So until one day, this bhikkhu Nagala, Thera Nagala, has become has attained the arahantship. So he did not go back anymore. So the rest of the bhikkhu are very curious. Hey, how come you did not go and see your teacher again? So the rest, then he told him that I do not need my teacher anymore. And then the rest of the bhikkhus are very curious. How come he, so strange? Yeah, like you're supposed to see your teacher, right? Like, how come you say you don't need your teacher anymore? And then the Buddha said that yes, he does not need his teacher anymore because he has already attained arahantship. That teacher is actually his old clothes, to remind him about the past, that he doesn't want to live as a field laborer. He doesn't want to go back to that kind of home life again. So sometimes we use some of the reminders to help ourselves to guide our mind as well through our seeing and touching. Like perhaps when you hold your children, you suddenly reminded that, why am I doing all this? Because it's for my children. Yeah, by seeing your children, you'll be reminded that, okay, maybe I need to train myself better. Yeah, I need to help myself to become a better person then. Or you have some quotes on the wall. You remind yourself to guide your mind again that it's okay not to be bothered by other distractions in life, then that you can focus on what you want to focus now, and not to be carried away by the stress or the frustrations by other people or other things then. So this is one of the examples that how you can guard your mind. Okay, so I have give some example from the Buddha's Dhammapada stories on how to guard your mind through the seeing, touching, hearing. And of course, in daily life, we have to deal with stressful people. One of the stressful people, perhaps your boss or your colleague or your husband or wife. Yeah, sometimes we have to deal with them. And so we can learn from the Buddha that there are three kinds of people found in the world. A person who is like a line edge in a stone, or a person who is a line edge in the ground, or a person who is a line edge in the water. It means that sometimes when we get angry, it's like we put our anger or we 雕刻怎么讲 we I forgot the word grave. Wow, carve. Oh, okay. Yeah, we carve our anger into the stone. Yeah. So it's described like a person who is like who is like a line etched in the stone. That means we keep remembering or revisit or holding the anger, holding the past injuries. Then some people are like this a line etched in the ground. They carve or they put the anger into the ground. It can be still seen, but it can be slowly what are called dissolve or maybe slowly disappeared over the years. But it takes some time as well. Then some people who is like-minded, they are line etched in water. They carve their anger in the water. The water doesn't leave any trace behind them. So these are the three metaphor of three type of people in that found existing in the world. And so sometimes when we deal with people like a line etched in the stone, we have to be really, really like Guan Yin, you know, the one mentions that like see them as a test of patience. We have to really, really patience because they take a long time to what are called let go. Yeah. Even though we keep saying let go is very easy, but for some people they are very difficult. So we need to understand as well then. Yeah. So to deal with a stressful and unpleasant feeling, we need to understand. Yeah. Some people are like this then. So these are what Buddha taught us then. Yeah. Of course, Buddha don't want you to be the person like that as well. Yeah. And so how do we what about other than understanding that these three kind of people, then what can we do, huh? So Buddha tells us that changes begin from yourself. Yeah. So this Dhammapada verse 198 at 158 at 159 mentioned this one guy called is a bhikkhu as well. He is Thera Padanikatissa. Yeah, Padanikatissa. So this Padanikatissa is a man is a bhikkhu that he lead, or maybe he not lead. I think he bring 500 bhikkhus with him and go for the vasa, go for vasa, and he himself keep sleeping, and then but he wake up other bhikkhus to ask them to practice at the odd hours, like sometime in the midnight at 3 a.m. he will wake up he will ask the bhikkhu to continue practice, and then he go and sleep. After he so the bhikkhu will continue to practice. After they get tired, they want to go and sleep, and then this Padanikatissa, he wake up and see that, oh, how come you go and sleep already? You must be more diligent in your effort, and then he will ask them to go back to continue their practice. So this group of bhikkhus, they are very frustrated with him because he did not allow them to rest, and he messed up the routine of their practice and all that. And then they go back and complain to Buddha. So the Buddha give this: one should act as one teaches others. Only with oneself truly tame should one tame others. To tame oneself is indeed difficult. So he said that for this Padanikatissa, he should train himself first before taming others. But there's a story about this Padanikatissa. It actually was in the past life. These 500 bhikkhus actually killed him because he was a chicken at that time, and he lived in the cemetery, and he never know what is the daytime and the nighttime. So this chicken was brought back to wake up the bhikkhus to practice, and then they feel very frustrated with this chicken. At the end of the day, then they kill the chicken, and then this life he is Padanikatissa. So he messed up the 500 bhikkhus life again. And then the 500 bhikkhu go and complain, and then Buddha tell him that this is the karma lah, you know. But don't worry, you all keep practicing, and then the 500 bhikkhus will slowly they attain their fruit lah. Yeah. So Buddha mentioned this, that changes begin from yourself. So when you have to handle difficult people and unpleasant people, you always have to start with yourself. And it is the most difficult part. And because sometimes we have this ego, we will ask, Why should I change? It's not my fault, what? You know, and I've been changing so many times, been learning. I'm the one who, you know, like la la la, you know, all that. We have a lot of ego and frustrations of not being seen as well sometimes. Yeah. But again, Buddha already tell us it has to start from yourself then. Yeah. Okay. So how to start from myself and then deal with this kind of unpleasant anger or, you know, like resentment in us? This is where Buddha again give us a method. These 5 ways you have mentioned just now as well in your solutions, that to develop the compassions, to understand that this person is a Kuan Yin, or is like what else? I didn't write down. Look at the beauty of the person. Yeah. So to look at the teeth or something, so that you don't you don't carry away by the anger towards the person. Then and it also mentioned that we should Buddha also mentioned that the first method is to send loving kindness to the person. Oh, this one very difficult, right? Someone say, I cannot say the good things about the person. What more for me to send loving kindness to the person? Then if this is difficult, then Buddha tells us to develop compassion. Loving kindness and compassion are 2 different things, slightly similar. Loving kindness is like you develop the joy and then you share the joy with the other person. Compassion is you understand the person's suffering, and then you share the feeling of that challenges, or that feeling of that suffering with that person. You like, oh, you understand that this person is so angry, and then he always badmouth me. He must be so suffering and no one want to talk to him, you know. Or he must be so miserable that no friend. So you also, you know, feel the person like suffer. Then you can develop this compassion. May him and the person who suffered like him can be given the kindness, or maybe the compassions that he needed. But before you can do that, of course, the first person you have to do is to yourself, because sometimes, not sometimes, many times, we are the one that we feel very suffered, right? And then it's so hard for us to we feel disappointed with ourselves. Like sometimes we get angry, or we get overreacted, or we keep doing the same mistake, then we blame ourselves. So these compassions can always start with our own self, that how we can see our own suffering, and then be able to send the much of compassion that we needed for our own self. The third way is to develop equanimity. That means to be able to see the person's with in the layman term is the shared similarities. Like this one is not only me, yeah. This one other people also have experienced before. The commonalities between others and in the human being world, then, yeah. So that we don't dwell into the ego. We don't dwell into the atta, saying that it's only me, it's only him that make me suffer. That kind of perceptions. Then, and if this one doesn't work, Buddha gives us the 4th way. You know, this one, disregard him. Just now there's one group mentioned also, disregard, to ignore. Yeah. So sometimes to disregard or to ignore is what we call healthy avoidance. Yeah.
Okay, Sister Mei Liu, we might be running out of time.
Oh,
so
okay.
Maybe a bit fast so we can ask you questions.
Okay.
Question
So sorry.
answer session.
Yeah, I will
sorry, yeah.
end with this one then. Thank you for the time.
I'm actually listening, but I'm just trying to get something. Yeah, then no worries. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. All right.
You talk about the disregard. Yes, this is the only method that worked for me. The rest, no way.
But I want to say, some people will see this as avoidance. You should not avoid, and all that, right? Yeah, we always tell. Yeah.
I have to. If I don't avoid, I will start to. Wow, I cannot really. If I don't avoid, right, I will develop hatred. I do not want to develop hatred for anyone.
It's one of the way that Buddha mentioned as well. Then, so I will name it as a healthy avoidance. Yeah. Of course, we also need to check ourselves. Yeah. That slowly, how can we also come to accept that this is what it is lah. The last one is apply the idea of ownership of karma. So we should understand that each of us is our heir of our own karma. So and with this understanding, we do not blame them, because this could be our karma as well. Yeah, that we come to have such situations or such incident with this person or this kind of situation in our life. Then, but having said that, it's not like I don't want you to delve into that fixated mind that it's my karma, every time it's my karma, then then it becomes fixated mind that this is the wrong view again. It is the permanent view of karma. You have the permanent view of karma, which means that you see that karma cannot be changed. And again, this is not a helpful view. So we have to be mindful as well. Okay, I like to end this here. Buddha give many ways. So these are some of the things that I just highlight for your awareness. Any questions, feedback, sharing? Yeah. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, so now we have come to the question and answer session. Please, brothers and sisters, do you have any questions for Sister May? So sorry we stopped your very excellent presentation. We were listening. But we also need to stop for the question and answer session. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand and turn on your microphone if you do. Okay.
Oh, sorry, sister. I now only read the chat. Sister Sunny, you want to, you with former neuroscientist. Please open for discussion.
That one is only for
I may
layman
have.
is okay. Parietal Lobe is here.
That
one is only when we want to go in depth a bit.
Oh.
Terms. But overall, the presentation is excellent.
Thank you.
Slides are so professional, very beautifully done.
Thank you.
I took the liberty to take some pictures to share with my local Dharma group. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, these are the excellent slides done by Sister Andrea. So she touched up my slides so professionally.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you.
Okay, any other brothers and sisters? Do you have any questions for Sister May about, how to manage dealing with stress, any situation you want to bring up?
Please correct me if there is some wrong info with regards to what I present. You can help to correct, because I'm not in depth into this. Yeah, some terms I may mix up as well. Then please clarify if you have me confused. Please, I don't hope to confuse you then.
Any questions? No? So it's so clear. No one has any question for Sister May.
Sister, can I ask a question?
Okay. Sorry. Okay, brother, please ask.
Sister, in your presentation, I think one of the part you mentioned was to learn to see things clearly. But But how does it? How does one skillfully help another to see things clearly?
This one is very hard, lah.
Very
Like I
tough,
told you,
right?
yeah, like I told you, the therapy, right? You have to help the person from the wrong perspective to, because the distorted thought, and then you cannot just tell them that it's wrong, you know. Like you have to ask them, perhaps to guide them to do some experiment or to do some behavior, I mean some homework, yeah. Then from the experience, then we discuss again, and then see how I can help the person to expand the view. So it's like slowly, you know. This is you talking about therapy, helping people to expand their view.
I'm actually asking because you see, for us as friends, no problem lah. You just okay lah, leave it be, let it be. But for you
Yeah.
as a professional,
Yeah,
because you know they come to you for help. I'm just wondering,
yeah,
it seems a lot more challenging for you because you have no choice but to help them.
yeah.
As for us as friends, okay lah, never mind lah. You cannot see, it's okay lah. You know, I cannot. Maybe not your time to really understand it yet. You know.
We really
So I
have
was just
to.
wondering, how do you handle that?
We really have to be. That's why Buddha said the timing. The time. Sometimes when the client or when the person come and present the things, we really roughly see the structures of it, and we know that where to fix and all that. But we cannot tell the person straight away directly. Sometimes we know our children do wrong things. We tell them straight directly, huh? They will still say, "Allah, I don't want to listen to you," you know. You turn them away. So the timing and the opportunity and the situations are so important. We need to learn how to hold, how to be patient, or in another way, to hold ourselves. You know that this person have wrong view, but you cannot tell them immediately. This is why Buddha is so skillful, you see. He's so skillful. He will not tell you directly about what you've done wrong, but he will give example. In my hands, is there the leaf or many, or the leaf under the ground many? Then they will say, oh, the leaf under the ground many. So that's why you see Dhamma is like my hand leaf. So he will use such a beautiful way to help the other person to really know that, oh, you learn Dharma, so precious, you know, that kind of thing. So we have to be patient, and we have to know that the timing. But sometimes because our own experience, we don't have that perhaps experience, we may do wrong things, but it's okay. And you don't blame yourself. I also did wrong things, you know, like I tell my client too soon, and then I got scolded from a phone and all that. And so, and then they turn away and all that. So we really have to, sometimes we have to test a little bit as well. If you need to help the person, we have to test a little bit. We test that, oh, maybe you think about this, and no, immediately defend and all that. You know that the person is not ready, but you say that, oh, what do you mean? Can you tell me more? Then you know that, okay, the persons are more receptive to it. Then you can share more on it. So we really have to find the good timing and the right situation. This is why the right speech are very important. Yeah. Noble
Thank you,
Eiffel
sis.
Tower. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Thank you, Sister May. Anyone else? If not, because we are rushing for time, so may we now invite Aya to say a few words on our topic. Aya?
Aya, please correct me just now. Can you mention that? I didn't see the message. Thank you.
I think today we have a very interesting discussion, on this topic, and Sister May has also prepared the content, the way of how we can overcome stress. And I also see that the sound during discussion is such a nice platform. I can see everybody come and discuss their stress in a very distressed way. We laugh away with our stress. We share how we overcome it. And I think it's a good way, because when we talk about it, we do not see that stress as a personalized problem, that burden us alone. indeed, everyone experience stress in different way. Yeah, and some of us have some ways and methods how we overcome it, and some of us also have additional way. Yeah, and some are very skillful way, and some maybe still stress us up. Yeah, so then we unlearn and relearn. Yeah, we unlearn and relearn. Relearn means if let's say that technique of distressing is not as good, then we can unlearn it. Yeah, and then we have a better way of dealing, overcoming our stress, then we can also make good use of it. And of course, through the modern psychologies, it's also very helpful to bridge, yeah, using the term for us to understand more easily. And we also have this fortune that we know the Dhamma, the teaching of the Buddha, yeah? And because we have even more variety, more in-depth way of understanding our body, our mind, and to be able to be clearly aware, yeah, so that we don't fall into that situation, because it's just like when we fall into let's say we are not mindful, we fall into, let's say, a quarrel. The impact is even more difficult to overcome when we actually prevent, yeah, from happening. Yeah, so this need, of course, understanding, patience, and be able to be a good listener to others. And also, I think the importance, so I think Sister May has very nicely summarized. Yeah, and throughout the presentation, we can see there's many ways that we can do it, and even as a therapist, as parents, probably even as we all as a spiritual teacher, the way to help our the person who is in the difficulty, or trying to overcome their difficulty. There are times, of course, the timeliness of the speech, I think, is very important. Yeah, so sometimes we always say, even the Buddha mentioned, yeah, so it means the right person to speak with, the right time, right place, and right condition. Yeah, so at times, yes, maybe the way we understand things may not be the way that person understands, but the information that we gather, yes, it's time to tell them, but the condition is not there. Sometimes it's time to tell them, but the place is not appropriate to tell them. Yeah? So sometimes the place is right, the person is right, but not timely to tell them. Yeah. So all these have to come together. So when we speak out, then you see that person respond well, and it gets into their mind, it gets into their heart. And that's where they, just like modern world, we say, just like a sudden aha in their mind, yeah, a sudden openness, yeah. And because of that, they'll be able to accept, yeah. So these are skills that we learn throughout our life, and how we learn from other wise ones, associate with those who are also inclined to want to avoid evil, do good, and purify their mind. Yeah, and this is very essential, because through this, then we'll be able to learn more ways, and we can also share our experience, how we overcome, and then other person listen. They also think, this is quite a good way. Yeah, different way how we manage ourselves and how we manage people around us. And the main thing that the Buddha said, always look within. Yeah, because we always look without, that's why we get a lot of stress. Yeah, and but when you look within, yeah, and you apply all the things that the Buddha taught us, whether it's a noble eightfold path, and whether you break into the virtue, the samadhi, and the wisdom. So all these processes will help us to ultimately be able, yeah, to cool off our defilements. What defilements? Our grasping defilements of greed, or our aversion, anger, hatred, yeah, or our delusion, ignorant, yeah, not knowing things. So this path that the Buddha showed us will naturally, the Buddha said, lead us to even stream entry, means the state of entering the basic understanding, the path of nobility. Yeah, and also the Noble Eightfold Path is the path that the Buddha said, the way how we can one day, overcome all kinds of stress, all kind of dukkha, whether physical, mental, or spiritual. Yeah. So we hope through this platform, all of you be able to continue to learn and practice and share. And we thank the organizer and all those who have kindly provide the slide, and also to organize this, and also to Sister June for also becoming the the moderator, and especially to Sister Mei Liu to share her experience in the psychological part, and also couple with the Dhamma way, and then we have a full perspective of how we can practice as a layperson and also in the spiritual way. So thank you all very much, and rejoice with everyone.
Thank you, Aya. But there's a question for you, Aya, actually, from one of our participants. She asked, Aya, do you face stress?
Oh, okay. What do you think? Aya is also a human, right?
Yes.
But when Aya faces stress, Aya know that Aya is facing stress. That is one good thing, So when I have stress, meaning, so sometimes stress is in different kind of degree, different kind of degree. So sometimes it's because there are things needs to be done, there are deadline, okay? And sometimes because in our service, to people, and sometimes in between, suddenly something happened, people need help, or and sometimes like funeral wake, suddenly people need that kind of service. Then we have to put down our things, we have to go, but at the same time, of course, we learn to how to say, that kind of stress is sometimes as a kind of motivation to move to do things, but at the same time we apply loving kindness, loving kindness in the sense that if I know that I have a little bit overwork, and then I have to tell myself, okay, body, I allow you to sleep 7 hours, okay? So I will allow my body, I won't like fix, okay, tomorrow I have to wake up this time or whatever, but because I've extended my, what they call, body ability to serve, but so I need to help my body to recuperate. So I will allow that to happen. And so that is more like loving kindness, so you have to balance so that you don't get stressed up. So stress is always there, in a way that small little stress, then it motivates you to serve, and to serve happily, and to be able to do I don't know, sometimes I was like, sitting down and pondering, there's so many things that we are doing, like in this time, there are so many programs on a big project. Let's say like Theravada Samadhi program coming, Sangika Dana coming, then our building project coming, so many things at once, and sometimes I sit down, how do I cope with that? So I think the best thing is still we follow the Buddha's way, we follow Noble Eightfold Path. Time to cool down, time to meditate, we meditate, time to serve, we serve, time to rest, we rest. So I have very good sleep one. I when I sleep, I just sleep. No insomnia one. Only coffee can make me insomnia, but I don't drink coffee, okay? And other than that, I think when you serve happily, when you do things happily, you have less stress, I would say, less stress, So the question is, do you face stress? Yes, I do. But it's only that I apply whatever that I know, and I'm aware of the stress when it comes. If I know that, because of the deadline, then I need to finish certain things, then I will look at the timing that I have, or do I need to seek some help, some devotee maybe to help me to do certain things, so I'm still able to, let's say, finish that on time. If I cannot, then I will tell myself, okay, let be, whatever comes, I will just deliver what I know, deliver what I can share. And so I look at the audience, so what they need, what they probably wish to learn and understand, then I deliver what I can. So then I'm not so stressed out, right? Yeah, I would say like little stress lah. Not those kind of stress, and they get very angry. Get disappointed. But not that kind of stress. A little stress to motivate. That little bit of to fulfill the deadline sometimes. That kind of little stress. So I hope that I answer you.
Thank you, Aya. I hope the participant answers you. Okay. Okay. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Sister Meliu and Aya. Now let's pay respect to the triple gem, and Aya by bowing 3 times. First bow. Second bow.
Secure.
Third bow.
Secure.
Thank you, Aya.